Global warming is huge, and we still don't really know what level of activity and energy and funding we need to be successful. So I think that if she's elected president and then she goes ahead and she's successful, and I'm just taking one of many policies that Obama has put out there, that's going to be a tremendous achievement. So it's not radical, it's not incremental, it's not the status quo. There's only one word for it. It's very important. And we might need to spend billions now to save trillions later. And only history will know what she did and what she overcame if she is elected president. And right now it's going to be a close race, and we're not really sure how it's going to come out. Let's move on now to some thoughts I have about an infrastructure rebuilding process. I think that what the United States needs to do is we need to start small. We need a well thought out plan. And there's an old saying, success breeds success. I think the American people would like to see money spent on infrastructure rebuilding processes, including rebuilding roads and bridges, pulling out lead-laced pipes in places like Flint, Michigan, where we're poisoning our kids. Those are just three examples of many examples, but I think the American people would like to see the federal government become successful. If the federal government is successful, and let's start small. We start small, we take corrective measures during a project, and then we develop best practices. American people, if they see that their tax dollars are being well spent and they see that we're being successful in rebuilding the country, people are going to start to get really excited about it. They'll see that government works. You see, what happens is 70 and 80 years ago, Franklin Roosevelt, during the New Deal, what he was doing, he was engaging in processes whereby we can build the Hoover Dam. We could create the Tennessee Valley Authority. This created low-cost electricity to people throughout the country, and it put people to work with jobs. And those people, even though the government had to pay money to build these things, people were put to work. There were jobs. People were paying taxes with those jobs, and then we're rebuilding things that are going to last 50 to 100 years. And so I think that if the American people see that their tax dollars are going well, are being well spent, people won't mind paying their taxes. Because I think what we need to do is this. I think we could borrow. Well, people will develop confidence that government works, and I also think that that's why I'm talking about Johnson and Reagan. I think that if we reach a point where we have pilot projects, corrective actions, best practices, and people start to develop confidence that government works, then we could do some robust planning. And, chance favors the well-prepared plan. To borrow from Louis Pasteur and change that quote just a little bit, I think that what we could do then, a couple of years into a new administration, is start to develop a roadmap, robust plans. Maybe at some point, for some forms of infrastructure, whether it's mass transportation, it's renewable sources of energy, it's a GI Bill to get our kids through college, public colleges, and it could be a number of areas that are infrastructure. We have a robust plan of different kinds of infrastructure that need to be built, trillions and trillions of dollars, could be over years, could be over several decades. But I think if we plan big and we decide what role should government play, should the federal government take the lead? Should it be delegated to the states or the local government? Also, in some cases, it may be best if the federal government passes the laws, but it's carried out by the private sector. Maybe we do competitive sealed bids, and we get the best contractors, the best product at an affordable cost, and we let the private sector do it. The federal government will be monitoring, auditing it. They'll be ensuring environmental regulations are in place. So I think that if we have a robust plan, but we're flexible, and we sometimes like Johnson, believe that effective governmental action is the remedy. At other times, maybe government could help jumpstart things, but then hand it over to the private sector, and they can rebuild on certain projects as well. So I think we need to channel Johnson and Reagan. I think that they were both successful for different reasons, and I think that maybe they tried too hard. Johnson tried too hard at effective governmental action. Reagan relied too much on the private sector, but that doesn't diminish what they did. There's no book you read to becoming president, and it's not an easy process. All we can do is think about what George Santayana once said. He said that those who don't learn from the past are destined to repeat it in the future. The really tricky thing about what Santayana said, although it resonates inside me, the really tricky part is when you look at history, what factors are key? What factors are relevant or irrelevant? And also, things change. People's expectations change. Everything changes. So it's really hard to know what's the next best step to do, and that's why we all sort of need to be patient. And I think we could create win-win situations by thinking small, pilot projects, corrective actions, and then we develop best practices. Then we could go robust in terms of planning and then implementing projects. And then we do these projects, we either government takes the lead or the private sector takes the lead, but the government is still involved as sort of like a co-pilot. So I've basically, without telling you, I'm going to summarize. I've basically summarized my approach for what America needs to do. And let me just part now with you and say this is Michael Smook for YouTube Commentaries. Today is Friday, September 23rd. The year is 2016. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I'm excited about what's going on these days. On Monday, I'm going to watch the debates between Trump and Clinton. And I haven't been this excited since I watched the Kennedy-Nixon debates from 1960 this morning. I watch them all the time. I really admire both Richard Nixon and John Kennedy. Anyway, until next time, goodbye and good luck.